that scores of illegal immigrants in Texas were being flown, bused, and then abandoned out of state. In many cases, the next state to which these illegals were bused or flown or taken was the state I used to represent in Congress, Arizona. This policy of dumping illegal immigrants in the Grand Canyon state has met with harsh criticism. Here to discuss it in depth, a man known as America's toughest sheriff, a guy who, in my opinion, endorsed the right candidate for the U.S. Senate in 2010. It's my old friend, Joe Arpaio. Joe, we welcome you back to America's Forum.
Thanks, J.D. I wish you were here with the Congress. Anyway, you have another platform which is probably sometimes more powerful what you're doing right now.
Well, Sheriff, I appreciate your kind words, and we do want to use this platform for you to give voice, for you to give us an eyewitness account as the Sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona. What is happening on the ground there right now?
Well, it's rather bizarre, J.D. I spent 14 years as a top federal guy in Mexico City and Texas and Arizona. I've seen a lot of things, but is this arrogance? Is this something that the government is really planned and calculated to generate more controversy? Using this system, they're bringing the people here at a bus station from foreign countries to maybe get Congress to do something. I don't know, but it really doesn't make sense. Dumping the kids with no parents and just coming across into our country from Central America and waiting at bus stations. And I hate to say this, but some may be sick. I mean, young kids, this is 110 degrees out today, and where's the medical treatment if they need it? And if they do, they'll be flooding our hospitals, here, emergency rooms right here in Phoenix.
Well, Sheriff, you raised some concerns shared by Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, who sent the Obama administration a scathing letter. In this letter, she says, and I quote, "This unwarranted operation is another disturbing example of a deliberate failure to enforce border security policies and repair a broken immigration system." She went on to say her office was not notified and that it not only burdens states like Arizona, but raises humanitarian concerns. Joe, I have to ask you, you're a guy who doesn't miss much. How did you first find out about the government being involved in, pardon this term, but I can't think of a better one, illegal dumping now in Arizona?
Well, I spoke out on a national TV show last week before anybody else started picking up on this, because you know how it is when the media starts picking up, everybody else starts picking up on it. But I only found out a week ago, and a certain national TV station called me, and I gave my impression, my how I thought what was going on a week ago. Now it's picking up a little steam, but evidently this has been going on here for about a week or 2 weeks, and that sort of surprised me. But it leaked out through the media, and I think that's what perpetuated the interest. But why Arizona? Is that because they're going to put it right in our face? The state has been very active, and I've been very active, being the poster boy from the White House down. And I just released statistics, J.D., which nobody will cover, which is amazing. 3 different press releases. I wrote to the head of the Homeland Security and ICE because we did a survey in our jails, and just a consolidated 2,000 people that are in jail for all different types of crimes, but they're here illegally. We have turned over to ICE in the last several months, and guess what? 38% have come back throughout the years for many serious crimes that they should have been deported. So I put that out. Nobody's covering. I have the proof. Everybody else is saying they released 36,000 people. I have the proof, and yet nobody will cover that story, and I'm going to do it again this month. I said every month I will put statistics out to show that the illegals in our jails that we turn over have come back several times for serious crimes. So evidently ICE is letting them out the back door, back on the streets, or they're deporting these people and they keep coming across. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then maybe somebody will start picking up on it.
Well, Sheriff Joe, just to go back to something you mentioned just a second ago, I don't want to talk about this, and you talked about the Obama administration perhaps shoving this in Arizona's face. Now, if people Google your name along with the White House, they can see the whole backstory on the adversarial relationship between the Obama administration and what you're trying to do down there in Arizona. But people also might remember very well that image of Governor Jan Brewer putting her finger in the face of President Obama. Do you think this is really retaliation from the Obama administration, sending these undocumented and illegal immigrants to Arizona to maybe get back at you and Jan Brewer?
Well, I don't know about the governor and the finger, but I do know that 100 days after Obama took office, the Department of Justice started the investigation. And by the way, they're still here. 6 years they've been doing that. And now I rocked the boat by coming up with statistics that I wrote to the Homeland Security. Now, all at once, they're bringing people to Arizona from Texas. The governor of Texas is a good friend of mine. In fact, I campaigned for him. I know he's got big problems on the illegal migration from Central America. They're coming across his border. But I don't know. A big state like Texas, you can't find a bus station. You have to bring them all the way to Phoenix, hang around the bus station, and then they go on from there to all over the country. And they're here illegally. We're not a foreign country. The last I heard, Arizona is a state. So they ought to be sending these people back to where they came from, or at least have some type of way officially to do things, not just dump them at bus stations. Come on, little kids at bus stations.
Well, Joe, you continue to raise the concerns, and obviously you have been one who has enforced immigration law, apparently much to the consternation of the Obama administration. There's another curious occurrence going on, Sheriff Joe. These illegals sent to Arizona are expected to check in on their own once the alleged deportation process nears. I believe they're given like 15 days to go and report back to Immigration, Customs and Enforcement, the acronym ICE. But do you see any evidence that these illegals, given a notice to return, are showing up and knocking on ICE's door saying, well, here I am to be deported?
Well, I haven't seen that yet, but I presume when they get their bus ticket or go to New York or Florida, they're supposed to turn themselves in. Come on. They probably won't even find a way to get there. So that's ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. And so this is a new program that the president has started to get around Congress. But I still think, I have a strange theory here, that they wanted to do this to get you talking to me, get everybody talking, and say, see, Congress, you better do something. Look at what's happening. We have to dump them at bus stations. Let's get that comprehensive immigration passed, because the timing is getting close. You know that. And why is it happening now? Come on.
Yeah, Sheriff,
so,
that's a
they
good
bust
point.
Them here, and then it doesn't make sense.
We know
It
the
does
president
not
has
make
an
sense.
issue at forcing, or has the idea of forcing the issue here on immigration reform. But I wanted to ask you, personally, Sheriff, you and your resources, your department's resources, and maybe some other sheriffs from other counties in Arizona that you've talked to, you have the security issue here, you have the public health concerns here. It's going to cost the state of Arizona lots of money to deal with this problem, but how have you had to divert other resources that could be better applied if this weren't happening in your state?
Well, I'm not going to get into district federal judges, but they kind of put the handcuffs on me on alleged racial profiling. Got monitors floating around, which doesn't bother me. So a lot of my authority, because of decisions which I will be appealing, has restricted some of my ways of doing things that I've been doing for the last 6-7 years on this problem. So I got people zeroing in on me in all different directions, but I'm still going to do my job. I'm the elected sheriff, constitutional sheriff. I report to the people, and I'm going to keep doing my job. But I'm taking a lot of hits from all over. But as JD knows, that's nothing unusual. I just turned down running for governor because if I leave, which I would have had to do last week, I've got a lot of things in the hopper that I'm not going to surrender to, so I'm going to stay sheriff and do my constitutional duties.
Well, Sheriff Joe, we appreciate the fact that you remain in office and remain very popular despite the best efforts of the administration and federal judges to try and abridge your ability to enforce the law. You're always generous with your time. We thank you very much for checking in with us, and we look forward to having you here again on America's Forum, hopefully with better news where we can actually see our federal government stepping up to enforce immigration law instead of trying to jerry-rig some sort of amnesty, which, as you pointed out, appears to be afoot, courtesy of Uncle Sam. Sheriff Joe, we thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, J.D.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he is America's toughest sheriff. That is not hyperbole, because when you have this kind of court activism, where a federal judge sits down and tries to micromanage the actions of a lawfully, duly elected sheriff, then you have judicial tyranny. You also have political tomfoolery as President Obama and the open borders crowd continue to try and push amnesty. Your thoughts on this welcomed. Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum. We're coming back.